Hi, Andrew McNair here. We're continuing our new video series on charitable tax strategies, so thank you for watching. Today we're going to explore the topic of DAFs, which stand for Donor Advised Funds. A DAF is a giving account that you establish at a public charity. It allows donors to give a charitable contribution and receive an immediate tax deduction, and then, when you're ready, recommend grants from the fund over time when you choose, so you're in control of your donation strategy. This option is ideal for high net worth individuals as well as high income earners who are charitably inclined. It also is a good fit for those who may be leaning towards or who already have a private foundation. For this group, a donor advised fund provides versatility and an immediate tax deduction while avoiding some of the additional costs that come with running a private foundation. So if you've ever toyed with the idea of opening a private foundation or are just looking for a tax-efficient way to build a charitable legacy, look no further. A DAF or donor advised fund might be just what you're looking for. So you may be asking, how would a DAF benefit me versus just giving funds to charity? Is a DAF right for my financial situation? Let's jump right in to try to answer those questions. One of the main reasons to open a DAF is to reduce your tax liability while making a meaningful difference to the causes, the missions, the ministries that you care deeply about. You can donate now to the DAF and then wait until you're ready to give those funds to a nonprofit or charity. The tax deduction is usually immediate, whereas you may not be giving the funds to the charity until much later or years later. This gives you the time to develop a philanthropic strategy as well as a gifting strategy that meets your family's needs, or maybe you just need time just to wait for the funds to grow, but more on that in just a minute. Another huge advantage is versatility, as you're in charge of the pace of giving, meaning you have control over when and how where the funds are donated. This makes the DAF much more flexible than just giving money directly to a nonprofit and having them pay it out to the various strategies that you feel are important. Another plus is that you maximize your charitable impact because the contributions that you have and make into the fund can be invested so that they grow over time tax-free, so giving you even more money to maximize and make a difference. It really sounds amazing, right? A DAF can really bring your philanthropic vision to life and allow you to make the charitable impact you feel called to pursue. What's more, if your philanthropic vision includes international impact, you can use your DAF to donate to eligible international charities and still receive domestic federal tax credits. Those are some of the great benefits that are associated with a donor advised fund, but I want to move on to how to open a donor advised fund. First, apply through a sponsoring organization where you'll have to submit an application to actually get approval for this contribution to a DAF. A sponsoring organization could be a community foundation or even a financial service company like Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard. Now, keep in mind that you'll need to select a name for your donor advised fund as well as successors. Those successors are the people that will take over the account once you pass away. If there's still money in the account, that successor will pay out those gifts to those charities. Now, beneficiaries are the charities and the nonprofits to who will actually receive those remaining funds in the DAF. Now, once the fund is established, make an immediate contribution of funds or assets. And depending on the sponsor, contributions can take the form of cash, publicly traded securities, stocks, mutual funds, real estate, and even non-publicly traded assets. For example, to start a donor advised fund account with the National Philanthropic Trust, you'll need to be prepared to make an initial contribution of $10,000 or more. Now, some sponsoring organizations may even require up to $250,000 deposit to get started, where others allow you to open an account with a minimum threshold. So do your research when you're selecting a sponsoring organization. Make sure you ask them what is the other contributions you'll have to make throughout the year to keep the DAF active over time. So once your donor advised fund is open and it has a balance, any money that you contribute can be invested and it grows tax-free. So you won't have to pay any taxes on any growth. You can make subsequent contributions in any amount over time. Then when you're ready, you can request that the fund's manager actually designate the funds towards charity or nonprofits that you select and that you feel passionate about. You have total ownership over where the funds go. And this is the process of granting out funds out of the donor advised fund. So far, we've covered who can open a DAF, how to open a DAF, but some benefits of this type of giving and how it works. Now, you may be still asking, when is the most beneficial time for me to open a donor advised fund? So let's go over some strategies where a DAF could be the right move for you and your family. One of the ways you might want to use a DAF is with a highly appreciated asset. See, the blessing and the curse of a highly appreciated asset is that you've grown your investment from your initial investment. That's the whole point of investing. But whenever you're ready to cash out, capital gains tax is knocking at your door. And one way to decrease or eliminate capital gains is to donate publicly traded securities or other illiquid gifts to your DAF, which is one of the most common ways to fund it. This strategy allows you to donate more to charities than if you had just sold the asset, paid capital gains, and then donated the remainder. Plus, you can receive an immediate tax deduction of up to 30% of your AGI or your adjusted gross income for gifts of appreciated securities like mutual funds, real estate, and other assets. And there's a 5-year carry forward deduction for gifts that exceed AGI limits. So you can carry this deduction into the future. The next strategy is to use a DAF to reduce your tax burden after a windfall situation. This could be receiving a large inheritance, selling a business, or just a year of strong returns on your investments. You can flood the DAF with the large contribution at the get-go so you can receive the tax deduction for that year, which allows you to pre-fund years of charitable giving all at one time. So let's chat for a moment about private foundations, which are also geared towards making a charitable impact, but with different requirements. If you already have a private foundation, you can convert that DAF to decrease your overhead costs and actually increase your tax deductions and have more flexibility with where and how you request grants. You can experience similar benefits by complementing your private foundation with a DAF, and you can even use the term foundation in the name of your donor advised fund. So you can keep that foundation name, keep the legacy in your new donor advised fund. If either of these are attractive to you, speak to a sponsoring organization about your options. In full transparency, before we close out today, let's touch on some limitations that DAFs have. We've already covered how your sponsoring organization may have an upfront donation requirement. Some also have yearly minimum required contribution amounts, so you may have to keep investing liquid or illiquid assets so your account stays active. Another requirement is that the charity or nonprofit you request grants from must be approved, meaning they must be a tax exempt under the IRS code 509c3 and classified as a public charity. Also, the tax deduction you receive is a one-time only event. You receive a deduction when you contribute to the DAF, but you don't get a second one when the charity receives the grant. So no matter how much the funds may have grown, that was your deduction. To recap, what we've covered today is if you have a highly appreciated asset, are charitably minded, maybe you need to give your donation into 1 year so that you get your standard deduction surpassed, then a donor advised fund might be a charitable gifting strategy for you. I've been a financial advisor for a long time, and I've built my success from the ground up. But at the end of the day, it wasn't wealth and achievement that changed my life, but generosity. If you want to hear my story from greed to generosity, you have to pick up my book, The Giving Crisis, which you can pre-order by clicking the link below. And I want to thank you for watching this video and all the videos on our charitable gifting tax strategy mini-series. But if you want to learn more about philanthropy, tithing, and other topics, please do subscribe so you don't miss them. Check out my podcast, Rich, Young, and Powerful, to hear from philanthropists. Maybe you will want to give to some of their ministries and some of their charities with your donor advised fund. Now, until next time, remember to invest your life into something that will outlive it. Now, that's living to give.